Paul Hines. Have you heard of him? Played baseball from 1872 to 1891. And on Baseball Reference, he is listed as a 302 career batting average. And listen to this. He played 20 years in the big leagues, which was very rare in the 1870s, 80s, and 90s. A lot of those players didn't play 20-year careers. They played 5, 10, 15 at the most because they got into other occupations. They weren't getting paid enough. But this guy stuck around. Paul Hines, have you heard of him? Let's look at his career. Ken Arizona here, Vista, California. I'm looking at Wednesday, July the 23rd, 2025. Okay, this video will be the 131st player I have covered. 300 or better career batting average. I have 2,000 videos on baseball, but lately I've been focusing 300 or better career batting average. 131 players I have covered so far. Let's look at Paul Hines. Listen to this. 1872. He was 17 years old, and he got going in the big leagues. 11 games, 11 hits, bats .224. Second year, 39 games. So back in the 1870s, as the leagues were forming and teams were getting together, the league did not have 100 games on the schedule. It was just getting going. In fact, the earliest records are from the 1870s. You don't have anything in the 1860s or 1850s. If you go to Baseball Reference, if you want to see who won certain batting categories, it starts about 1871. So I'm looking at Paul Hines, 1872. He's 17 years old. 1873, 18 years old. He gets into 39 games and bats .331. Got 60 hits. So this guy looks like he can put the ball in play. Did you know he only struck out twice in 181 at-bats? So he's a contact hitter. His third year, 59 games. See, they're not playing 100 yet. 80 hits, bats .295. Fourth year, 68 games. So they start increasing the games as the years go on. 1875. He plays in 68 games and gets 101 hits. Bats .328. 2 seasons over 300. 1876, 101 hits, .331 average. 1877, 73 hits, bats .280. 1878, he kind of takes off. Listen to this. He's 23 years old. 62 games, listen to this, 92 hits. So he's averaging more than a hit a game. He bats .358 and wins the batting title. Paul Hines. Have you heard of this guy? I haven't. 1879, he plays the most games so far, 85. He gets 146 hits and 409 at-bats. So they're increasing the playing time. They're increasing games, and he's getting a lot of playing time. He gets 146 hits, which will be his high. Third time over 100 hits in a season. Bats .357, back-to-back batting titles. So in the 1870s, there were certain guys that stood out. Paul Hines was one of them. He was the best hitter in the league, 1878 and 1879. So now they get into the 1880s. What does he do? 85 games, 115 hits, 307 average. The next year, 103 hits, 285. The next year, 117 hits, 309. He's one of the premier hitters of the league. 1883, bats 299. 1884, the first time they play over 100 games. He plays 114. What is his production? 148 hits, 302 average. 1885, that's 270. 1886, he gets the most hits in his career in 1886. Why? Because he plays 121 games. Finally, they're adding the games. Second time over 100 games. What's his production? 152 hits and bats 312. 1887, 147 hits, 308. 1888, 144 hits, 281. He's up there in a number of hits each season among all the players who are playing during that time. 1889, 148 hits, 305 average. So up to this point, this is his 18th year in the league. Let's count how many 300 batting average seasons for Paul Hines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 seasons out of 18, 300 or better. 2 batting titles. So he finishes the 1889, 11 seasons, 300 or better. 1890 and 1891 will be his last years. So in 1890, 100 games, 239 average. So he starts to slip. And then in 1891, he's 36 years old, but it's his 20th year in the league. I'm impressed that he played 20 years. That's 282. So he started at age 17, and he goes to age 36. If he had played till age 40, and if he had played more games, Paul Hines could have collected 3,000 hits. The problem back in the 1870s and 80s, they didn't play enough games in the season. But this guy was a quality hitter. Listen to the stats, 1,658 games. If he had gotten up to about 2,500 games, what would his numbers have been? He had 7,062 at-bats, 1,217 runs scored. Never had 100 in a season, but 1,217 in 20 years. Good amount. I like this stat. 2,133 hits in 1,658 games. So let's do a presuppose. Let's say he played 2,500 games. Well, he played 1,658. So let's see. Let's say he played 1,658. Let's add 842 more games. Why? Because that'll give him 2,500 games. We're presupposing. And let's say he was averaging about 150 hits a year when he plays over 120 games. So if we have 150 hits with 852 games, what am I getting at? He would have had 1,200 more hits. And what does that mean? If he had played 2,500 games, you know what I calculated? He would have ended up with 3,100 hits. if he had played 2,500 games. So that's how good this guy was. It's too bad they didn't play 150 game seasons back in the 1870s and 80s because he was on pace and he was a guy who stuck around. He played the 20 years. He was on pace for 3,100 hits. But the circumstances in his era, the 1870s and 80s, did not allow it. So he ended up with 2,133 hits, 399 career doubles. Not a home run guy. 57 in his career. They didn't hit home runs back then. He only had 855 RBIs. Never had 100 RBIs in a season. But he was a contact hitter, a good hitter. Listen to this stat. He had 7,062 at-bats. And he struck out 310 times. Do you know in today's baseball era, the 2000s and the year 2025, we have players who are striking out 300 times in about a 2 or 3 season span. This guy went 20 years and struck out 310 times. Now, was the pitching inferior back then? Maybe. Maybe the pitching's tougher now. But this guy knew how to hit a baseball, Paul Hines. 2,889 total bases. Never had 300 in a season because they didn't play enough. What do you think of Paul Hines? I'm impressed with the guy. He could have been a member of the 3,000 hit club if he had played 2,500 games. All right, we're done with Paul Hines. Interesting guy, right? Way back. Who's next? Here's a guy that I saw play on TV. I've been going back and forth between old school, was it around the 1870s through the 90s and the 1900s, the old school era, and then the new school era, which is present day or maybe 10, 20, 30 years ago, 1980s, 1990s, 2000s. How about this guy? Will Clark. Have you heard of him? San Francisco Giants, played for the Texas Rangers, played for Baltimore and St. Louis. 15-year career. He got the 2,176 hits. What do you know what I like about Will Clark? Played from 1986 to 2000. You know what I like about him? 303 career batting average. So he meets my criteria to get on my YouTube channel because I'm covering guys 300 or better career batting average. Career. He's 303. So Will Clark, I'm looking at your career next. I'm out.